What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we are on the test server here, and we will be playtesting the upcoming Fusion Folan Silverhart. I'm going to check out his kit, build him, test his damage, and then bring him into some content to make sure you guys are aware whether he is worth going for or not. Now, if you guys missed the information, Folan Silverhart is from the Sylvan Watchers, and he will be the upcoming Fusion starting on June 4th. It's going to be Thursday, and he's going to be a Fragment Fusion. He is Spirit Affinity, and he reminds me a little bit of Carnage, to be honest. He also has this one wing design. I'm not too sure I really like it. It's kind of like Scion, I think. He reminds me a little bit of Scion, I think. But anyways, here he is. Here is his total base stats here. 18k HP for attack-based damage dealer, I would say is slightly high, but it's still not high enough to make a huge difference. Almost 1600 attack, which is very nice. A little bit slow with 98 speed. Boosted crit damage here since he is a damage dealing champion. It's very nice to see. Let's check out his kit real quick just in case you guys are unaware. He's got an A1 triple hit. It's good for Fire Knight, good for removing Mercurial stacks in PvP. And he has a pretty high chance of guaranteeing at least one duration increase on some debuffs. Fortunately, it's just a single target, but it could work well for like Hydra or Chimera or Clan Boss. He's got an A2 here on a 3-turn cooldown. He's got 2 books for 20% damage. It's an AoE double hit. These are very nice. We're going to see more of these in more champions that are going to be designed to deal with Mercurial sets. It deals 10% more damage for each enemy for each debuff on them. So the more debuffs they have on them, the more damage you're going to deal. Keep in mind that enemies can only be capped out at 10 debuffs. So this is theoretically capped out at 100% damage, ignoring unkillable and block damage. This is very, very nice. Block damage, there seems to be more champions able to deal with block damage nowadays, but unkillable is still something that not too many champions can really deal with and is actually showing up more often. So it's really nice to see this. And then his A3 on a 4-turn cooldown when fully booked. No damage in books. Hate to see it. But we got a single target, double hit. First hit places decreased defense. Second hit places block passive. This is really strong. Block passive is not something we see very often, but it's really strong and it's able to shut down some of the strongest champions in the game. Then applies a debuff spread, taking all debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. Finally, attacks all enemies one time. This attack will ignore 20% of each target's defense. This is a really nice ability, effectively a triple hit on a single target, and then it's going to be a single hit on everybody else. And his passive here real quick for each Sylvan Watcher ally on the team, including this champion. So he includes himself. This champion receives 10% less damage from AoE attacks, and ignore defense effects against this champion are 10% less effective. So he himself counts as 1, so you're automatically coming in with 10% less damage from AoE and 10% less effective ignore defense against himself. Not crazy numbers or anything like that to make a big difference because he should be a squishy damage dealer. But if you have a whole team of Sylvan Watchers, then for sure, this could be useful, particularly in faction wars. Whenever this champion attacks, has a 30% chance to turn weak hits into normal hits. This chance increases by 10% for each debuff on the target. Theoretically, could be a 100% chance to turn weak hits into normal hits. Weak hits occur about one third of the time. So let's say you have no debuffs against the target. So 1/3 of the time, 1/3 of the time, it would be a normal hit. So it's not going to be a huge difference, but it could be the difference between winning your PvP battle or losing your PvP battle. So it's a nice little bit for his passive here, just to give you that chance to win. And lastly, he has a attack in all battles aura. Would have preferred maybe accuracy or speed in all battles, but this is not too bad, just as a generic aura boost. Now I'm going to build him out, and then we will test his damage and bring him out into some content. All right, guys, so this is my Folan Silverhart. So first, we're going to deal as much damage as possible with this set. I went with Savage and Stone Skin. It's just one of my better attack-based damage sets. You can definitely go for lethal Stone Skin. I think Stone Skin is going to be, pretty mandatory on this guy. This guy is pretty low survivability. He has no built-in cheat death or prevent fate or anything like that. So having Stone Skin or at least maybe Mercurial can give you a chance for him to get a turn. Total stats I have on him: 6.6k attack, 258 speed, 300 crit damage, 328 accuracy. Unfortunately for Folan, for his kit to be super effective, he does require accuracy. So you really want this. Block passive is one of the strongest parts in this whole kit. So you really want accuracy on him. And then, of course, the rest you want some damage so that you can take advantage of this A2 going through unkillable and block damage. So accuracy is a must. The level of accuracy you want on him really depends on what kind of level of competition you're fighting against. For the highest levels of PvE content, you're probably looking at about 400 accuracy. And then, of course, for PvP, you definitely want as much as possible. 100% crit rate because he's a damage dealer, and then of course as much crit damage and attack as possible for your damage dealing needs. In terms of relic, we didn't apply one yet. We will buff him up with the 5-star blessing because he is a fusion. Most likely we will get an event for his 5-star blessing. So we'll play test him quickly with the 5-star blessing, and then we'll add a relic to him. So right now he's just kind of like base, just kind of out of the box. We'll test him out a little bit. No blessings here. Fully booked, 11% into books. You really want the books just because you got the cooldown reduction here, and then you got the debuff chance here. So really high quality books, but yeah, he takes 11, so it's a little bit higher than average. I would say average is like 9 or 10. In terms of masteries, I didn't finish it. We're gonna leave Helm Smasher off for the damage test, but this is kind of the masteries that kind of went on him. I'm thinking about maybe using him in a hybrid role where he can play both in PvE and PvP. If you wanted to go strictly into PvP, you probably take Shield Breaker and take Ruthless Ambush instead of going for Heart of Glory. But you would still end up at Helm Smasher. In terms of support, you like to support the Master Hexer here. Extra duration on block passives can be pretty GG if you can land an extra turn sometimes. Psycho Magic always good for high value abilities. And since he requires accuracy, a little bit extra accuracy is not a bad thing for him. Let's bring him out into some content and see what kind of damage he can do. So let's test him out in Dragon, and we'll hop in a run here real quick. All right, let's bring him in just for a plain damage test here. We're on stage 10. We'll get the increased attack here from Arbiter, and then we have decreased defense here from Lydia. So yeah, let's see how it's gonna go. All right, so decreased defense and weaken applied to everybody. 1-time speed. Let's test out some of his damage here. His big damage dealing ability would be his A2. So let's see how strong this ability is. No Helm Smasher on, keep that in mind. So 80 75-ish against the Venus there. So double hit, about 155, 160. Let's duck out here real quick. So we got 700k here for his A2. Let's jump back in and we'll test out his A3 real quick. Decreased defense and weaken is applied, and we'll test out his A3 here. And we'll slow it down for the camera. Check out his animation. Attack the Venus and plop. And then there's the AoE. Definitely not as strong, but you don't really expect such a powerful ability with the debuffs and the spreading to be that strong. Let's check out the total damage here. Total damage is going to be 661. Not too much variance just because we don't have Helm Smasher on. All right, so I've taken all the gear off of Folan, and I'm going to put it on Wukong here. I'm going to test his AoE. This will give us a rough idea of how much multipliers Folan actually has and how his damage compares to a comparable attack-based damage dealer. We do have a blessing on Wukong here, but I changed the blessing to something that has no relevance, and we've aligned his stats to be as closely matched to Folan as possible. Let's jump in here and take a look. The big thing we want to check out is probably the AoE ability for Wukong, just to give us a sense of how powerful Folan's ability is actually. So here we got decreased defense and weaken on everyone. So let's check out the AoE here. We do have plus attack, so it's the same situation as Folan. And there we go. We got the hit. No Helm Smasher, so we took it off his overall ability. 572 on Wukong's AoE. So I'm going to show you guys the stats here on Wukong so you guys know that I'm basically working with the same thing. So Wukong here, 306 crit damage, 6.7 attack with no Helm Smasher on. Now I noticed that the masteries were slightly different, but we're going to redo this test and give you guys the most accurate number here. So we're going to come out. We just did it, changed the masteries, and it's 530. So Folan was doing about 700, 650 to 700, and then Sun Wukong was doing about 530 on his A3. All right, so you guys see here on this snip tool, we have Sun Wukong's multipliers on his A3. So his A3 multiplier is 3.8. over by attack. Sun Wukong actually has very similar attack as Folan, about just under 1600. You can kind of see here 1586, very, very similar to his, actually identical. You see it 1586, 1586. So for our purposes, Folan was hitting harder on his AoE ability, his double hit AoE, than Sun Wukong's AoE ability. And we know that Sun Wukong's AoE ability is 3.8. So we can comfortably assume that Folan's AoE ability is over 3.8. Not saying that 3.8 is a big number, but 3.8 I would say is probably the threshold where average probably lies. So Folan's A2 at least hits above average in my opinion, and giving him such strong abilities here, the ignore, unkillable, and block damage, makes it probably a serviceable, attack to help kill off like enemies, right? Now his A3 definitely doesn't deal significant damage for a single target hit or an AoE ability. This ability with all its attributes totally makes sense. They have to balance it out, but not making it too powerful. But overall, I wouldn't say his multipliers are total trash, but I wouldn't say they're insanely good. Probably just right around average, maybe slightly above average. Obviously, I got some pretty good gear on him, so you guys have to adjust your expectations based on what kind of gear you guys have, and obviously expectations in what kind of content you can tackle based on the amount of gear and your account progress. So in this situation here, I'm going to jack him up with the 5-star blessing. We're gonna gear him out fully with the relic, and then we'll give him a proper blessing. We'll finish off his masteries, and then we'll take him out into some content and see if he can actually excel. All right, so we got the 5-star blessing added to Folan here in this build, and we finished off with a relic and his blessing and his masteries. So obviously any kind of damage dealing relic will work very, very well on him. You could actually use a wand of submission on him also. If you're planning to use him for PvP, the wand is going to be very good because it gives him speed, accuracy, all of these things he really likes. In this case, we're going to go for more damage. We went with the Thunderbolt Spear. In some situations, he's not going to get the extra 10% or the extra 25% damage boost, but just for stats, crit damage, and attack, it's always very nice. Went for multi-hit gems here just for some extra damage. And for the blessing, I went with Nature's Wrath. Like I said, I kind of wanted to do like more of a hybrid build that's kind of good in all areas, PvE, PvP. If you want to specialize in, for example, PvP, you can make a case for some other blessings, for example, like Soul Reaper or Lightning Cage if you want to protect your Stone Skin, for example. But Nature's Wrath is going to be really good in a lot of PvE content, especially areas like Hydra. And even in, PvP content, it might not be so terrible because he lands so many debuffs so quickly. You're going to get a small damage boost almost right away. These are masteries. I went, like I said, a little bit more of a hybrid style in terms of masteries. If you want to go full PvP, you definitely go down Shield Breaker and then Ruthless Ambush after that, but you still end up at Helm Smasher here. I took Master Hexer for the extra duration because it's super important, especially if you land the extra turn on the block passive skills debuff. It's going to be very, very strong. So total stats here with the 5-star blessing: 7.5k attack, 258 speed, 364 crit damage, 400 accuracy. Now the accuracy is a little bit short. I do have the banner here, but you could take out this chest, for example, and go for accuracy. Chest, go for 500 accuracy. And I'll tell you guys right now, one of the biggest problems with Folan is that he is comparable to Carnage, but because Carnage is a mythical champion, a lot of his abilities they have ignore resistance as part of the bookings, so you don't need as crazy accuracy on him for the same effect. But for Folan is a legendary champion, so he has no benefit like that. So you need obviously more accuracy to do the same thing. But in any event, we'll try him out with this build. I think it's a pretty solid build. It could definitely be faster. It could definitely have more accuracy, but then you'll just be trading off damage. So keep that all in mind when you guys are looking at the playtest here. Okay, so let's try him out in Faction Wars here. Obviously, this is a pretty strong team. We're fighting hard Faction Wars 21. We're just going to let it go full auto and then see how well he performs. Obviously, he's going to be pretty decent in this matchup. He can dish out some damage. He's going to have the lockout abilities, not lockout abilities, but passive lockout, which is really nice. And then, of course, he's going to bring some damage as well, which is very appreciated, especially for Sylvan Watchers. So let's watch this in action here. We got to kill this Ancora. There she goes. This wave, a little bit tough if you get, obviously really screwed by that Hegemon. We do have a cleanser here with Elva. And then, of course, we're very lucky with having a Neve in our matchup. But yeah, we're running Dithey generally as our main damage dealer here. for the most part. So he's kind of adding secondary damage, but he actually dishes out pretty good damage. So, and Dithey, yeah, wow, look at that. Look at that debuff spread there. Huge, huge debuff spread. We don't have a lot of debuffs on this squad, so it definitely can be further optimized, but very nice. Bunch of debuffs. Lockout on the passive against the faction unity champion is going to be nice. There we go. And a little bit, you know, a little bit of damage. A little bit of damage there on the AoE. Double hit. Going to be very nice. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's decent in terms of the overall damage. All right, let's get through this guy quickly and then head to the boss. Let's see how well the boss does. The boss is pretty nasty, but I think we have enough support that we can deal with this guy pretty easily. There you go. Decreased defense. Big hit. AoE. Effectively a triple hit against this guy. Oof, the reflect damage, very nasty. And we got a bunch of protected buffs. And then, of course, Neve. So OP. OP, OP. There we go. Decreased defense again with the big hit there. That secondary hit actually quite a bit of damage, especially with that decreased defense after landing. Dithey pitching in. His A1 is doing 130. But then you guys can see that Folan's A3 was doing about 500 there. And nice, the A1 very good too, paired with Podrick, right? The A1 can have a chance at increasing the duration of the debuffs. So there we go. We actually get a brand new record there. So very happy to add another damage dealer to this squad just to obviously speed up the runs here. And he can be very good. The passive lockout's very strong against that second wave. All right, let's check out this exact build in something like Hydra. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to be pretty good. So let's check it out. I'm going to make a team here and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so this is the Hydra team we're putting together here. We got Crocat with Shayak, the combo. This is one of the best, non-Titus, non-Trunda combinations you can have. We got Thor here, another very strong individual damage dealer. We got two supports. We got Cleanse, Reset. We also have the block debuffs and the increased attack here. And then we have our Folan chilling out. Let's run a little bit and just get a feel for how this team kind of works. We don't necessarily have like a provoke champion, but we do have block debuffs. We do have hex champion, decreased speed. We have an increased speed champion with turn meter boosting, decreased defense. Very nice. There we go. There's a Folan doing his thing. Let's see how well this is going to do. Oh, wow. Obviously, Shayak's going to lead the way here in terms of overall damage, but let's see how well we do. Not fully optimized team or anything like that, but just to test out a couple of damage dealers alongside Folan. Got the dog doing crazy damage. That's kind of expected. Oof, crazy damage. All right. And yeah, decreased defense only on 2 single hit champions. So we got it on Shayak, single hit, decreased defense. And then Folan has the single hit, decreased defense, but he has the debuff spread. And it's only on a 4-turn cooldown. So it's not necessarily going to be the most reliable, decreased defense champion you have, but he could be useful in a pinch, right? In this case, he's kind of like a backup to Shayak. But Shayak's going to be more consistent because it's on his A1. Let's see. There we go. Folan coming in here. There we go. We got a nice little hit and then spread. Then, of course, the AoE damage doing pretty good. Let's see what else. What else can we do here? Shayak's going in with the A1 counterattack. And then we got the A1 from Folan actually doing okay. Not as strong as Thor's A1. We can compare the gear afterwards. And again, we do have Relentless on Shayak. And there we go. Plus attack. Oof, that's nice. That's a nice A1. Just under 1 million from those 3 hits combined. Thor, big slam there at the AoE. Thor's going to come in with lots of damage. Going to be a good barometer, I think. Ooh, look at that debuff spread. So nice. Huge debuff spread there. Just going to give you like quite a bit of consistency, right? Like if you can't land those debuffs properly, like for example, Hex, Having the debuff spread just gives you nice consistency. All right, pretty cool just to see the actual gameplay of him, but I think he's gonna do pretty well in this content. Let's check out the couple quick battles and see what kind of damage totals he's gonna put up. So here we're gonna end the battle, and then we can take a look at the damage spread. We'll do a couple quick battles, get a longer run. So we got Shayak here, 2.4k, probably from Brimstone. We got Crowcat leading the way with 32 million damage. Thor coming in with 9 million damage. Folan coming in here with 8 million damage. That's actually not too bad. Although this run is very short, it's not too bad. Let's do a regroup, and then we'll do a couple of quick battles, and then we'll see how this runs, right? Let's take a quick look here. It's thinking it's going to go to distance. We're on Nightmare difficulty, 761 million damage. We got 34 million from Shayak, 480 from Crowcat. That's to be expected. Thor with 150. Duchess with 1.7, and then we got Folan here with 83 million. Not too bad, but not on the level of Thor. We're going to do a couple more of these quick battles just to get some more consistent numbers. So let's discard this result and let's try again. Going 1,000 turns is really, really nice. Okay, very consistent damage here, just around 7 or 800 million. Thor 160, and then we got Folan doing about half of Thor's overall damage. So just so you guys get a general sense of what kind of damage you can output, we're going to take a look at the champions that I use. The main one will be to compare Folan versus Thor. So like I said, we're using the same Stone Skin Savage build that we had from the beginning. This is more PvP focused, so it's not, perfect for Hydra, but you can definitely, move some gear around to make it more Hydra focused to get more damage out of him. 364 crit damage, 7.4k attack. If we were to compare that against our Thor, this Thor is a 9-piece Merciless set, which is going to be much stronger for PvE content. Similar attack, similar crit damage, maybe slightly less, but way slower. Way slower. So he gets a slight compensation from having the 9-piece Merciless, so he gets extra turns. Nature's Wrath, so same blessing. We do have the Coronet on Thor, which might skew some of the damage a little bit. We do have the Boss Killer gem here. But the difference is too much, I think, to attribute to just the Boss Killer gem or the Arathi Coronet, since Thor dealing double damage versus Folan. But this is just to give you a general sense. You kind of see the stats are somewhat similar, although the speed difference is quite a lot. It's about a 60 or 50 speed difference between the two champions. The overall stats are about the same, but then you do have the Merciless build, which gives you more crit damage, and then the Boss Killer gem also dealing a little bit more damage, but still I don't think it makes up for the basically double damage. So Folan, not as crazy as a damage dealer as you would think in Hydra, but still can pitch in a little bit of extra damage. Also good just for his debuffs and his debuff spreading, just to add consistency to your run. Maybe in a run or a team with even more debuffs, you might get more damage out of this. We weren't like 10 stacking all the debuffs, but I think overall he's pretty serviceable as a general damage dealer that can bring some debuffs for your Hydra squads if you guys need him to. All right, last but not least, let's bring him into some PvP content, and this is probably where you want to see how his entire kit all rounds out here. Let's jump in here and see how well we do. No idea what this team is like. Let's hope that we're faster. Hey, we are. And hopefully this Crixia has bad AI. Okay, let's buff up here to protect our guys. Well, she does have bad AI, so there we go. All right, everybody. Okay, so we can just buff up, turn meter boost, and let's shut her down. Okay, so here comes our Folan. Definitely want to block passives here and then do the debuff spreading. And then, of course, we're going to come in here with an AoE also. So let's get her. 1-time speed. Ooh, 34 and then 41. And then the AoE, 50k against that Marius and 100k against that Crixia. That's pretty significant. All right. Well, we just want to test it out a little bit. Looks like it's doing okay. It might be doing all right. Let's test it out against Scratch's team. Obviously, very serious team here. But against Taras Marichka, very strong passives. This is where you want to bring a champion like Folan in to deal with this. So let's see if we can actually deal with this. Block damage here, protecting us a little bit. if we hit Marichka, we're going to get hit. And so I'm just going to protect our team with the ally protection. All right. Since we have the block damage, we can take the Taras hit. Okay. And we're probably dead if we take a hit from Taras, but we have Donnie to protect us. There we go. Block damage triggered. And we can hit once. Oh my god, we got sheeped, and then he kills us. Interesting. We get the extra life. Okay, let's do the debuff spread. We do have block damage, and we do have stone skin still up. Let's see what we can do here on one-time speed. Block passives. Hit. Not bad. Oh, the AoE comes in. Really nice. We also have the Thunderbolt Spear, so we do get some extra damage here when the Magma Shield is triggering. And then now we got the block damage back up. All right, looks pretty good. I mean, that's kind of what you want, this champion to do, right? To be able to shut down champions that have insane passives. And yeah, like Predator here as well. Passive's going to get shut down. Oof, we actually lost a guy, which really sucks. And yeah, let's shut down Taras's passive. Hit. And Taras definitely not as strong without his passive. Obviously, the big damage mitigation there. So we got the job done with this team. Not looking too bad. Not looking too bad, right? All right, let's take it in against Ash's team here. A bunch of mythicals. 1.38 million player power. I know player power doesn't mean anything, but yeah, I think he's just doing it just for the big number here. But yeah, let's bring it in. Let's see what we can do. A lot of really strong passives here. Obviously, very, very strong champions. Big stats on these guys. Mercurial everywhere. Gotta hate it. Gotta love it. That's the way it's going to go. Who do we want to shut down here? I mean, we probably need to shut down Nell. She's just going to kill us with her passive. So we're going to do that. Ooh, you can see the poisons here landing already. It's very nasty. And this is one of the situations where we're going to have some problems when champions have this block debuff stuff. So that's going to really give us a little bit of a headache, to be honest. So let's test out the double hit AoE here against the Mercurial stacks. So double hit, not crazy amount of damage, also against negative affinity. So the affinity issue here is going to be a big problem. I don't think this is a realistic or a good showcase of his abilities, just because the team is just not situated to really fight against his team that well. I mean, obviously his team is very strong. So not the best showcase there against that fight. Let's try another team here. Let's fight against the Turtles. This is a team that really utilizes their passive. So again, we'll try to take care of the passives here so that Leonardo does not one-shot our entire group. And yeah, let's take that out. Okay, so first hit, decreased defense. Second hit is block passive. So this is what we want. We want the first hit to take out the Mercurial stack, and then the second hit to land the block passives. All right. So hit. Okay, there we go. And now we got the AoE coming in. It's still triggered. Kind of interesting. Interesting situation there. He has block passives up, but then he still used his AoE. Maybe I'm missing something here. You guys let me know in the comments below. Can we kill this guy? Nope, not quite. All right. Yeah, so the Turtles in general, not super strong defensively. There we go. We got double weak hits. Not the best. Affinity issues, of course, for any damage dealer. Let's move on a little bit. Let's fight this team here. Again, very strong passives from this group. And this is where a champion like Folan can do really, really well. To me, he seems very similar to Carnage. Although not identical, it feels like it's a mix of Carnage's base and alternate forms together in one form. Now, the problem is that Carnage is a mythical champion, so he has more utility if he's ever locked out, for example. He can, shapeshift, and then he has a secondary form. It's a pretty big attack. His AoE, pretty big attack. We missed the passive passive lockout application, so that sucks. Let's see what else here. And then we come in with the double AoE and boom, smack, smack. And then we do have Harima on the field too. So he's shutting down some of our ignore defense. All right, let's try this team. Theodosia, very strong passives. And then obviously Predator, very, very strong. Also, let's see this in action. Not too much Mercurial, but still some Mercurial here. And let's buff up, protect our team. Got a hit in. All right, passives are off. Let's take out the Mercurial stacks. Oh, we got stonewalled, literally stonewalled here. That kind of sucks. So the big difference here between Carnage and Folan is that Carnage has the ability, or at least has the option to steal, right? He has the option to steal the buffs. He has the options to remove the buffs, like with his A1 and stuff. So in this case, he doesn't have those options. So it just limits him a little bit. Let's go for the A2. Let's just test it out through. And yeah, we get some kills off here. He's got the AoE going on. All right, let's reset a little bit and lock them out. Hopefully we remove duration. Yep, we do. Pretty nice. All right. Remove the stack of Mercurial with that counterattack. And yeah, well, Fabian just taking over. All right, and now we got the A2, A3 back, and then we're gonna hit, and then AoE. Pretty nice. Of course, we lock out the passives and stuff. Very good. You can definitely use him in some ways, right? Let's bring him in against Taras Marichka again. Again, very strong passives here. Odin also very strong passive. And let's see, we'll lock him out. Get smacked. We're alive. I'm going to shut this guy down just so we don't die. We get sheeped. Sucks. And okay, so oof, that sucks. Now, what we want to do maybe is just shut down the passives from these guys, and then we'll finish them up with the big block damage afterwards. Or maybe we can kill them through. Maybe we can kill them through. I don't know. It's pretty wide open right now for the block passives. So maybe we'll go for block passives here. We get debuff spread. Actually killed him, so that's kind of cool. Kind of want to hit into this block damage. See if we can get a turn here. Nope. Okay, protect. And we got our AoE back. Let's see what our hit looks like. Even against AoE decreased defense, not enough to kill some of these really tanky champions, especially if we don't land the block passive. I think I want to go back in here and try it again. This time we'll try to attack into the block damage without going for the A3. So shut him down. This time no sheep. It's a big difference. Okay, she's petrified this time, no block damage. So I think we'll just go for the block passives. Hit. Where's the block passive? Am I missing something? Hold on. Am I missing something? It feels like I should have gotten block passives on some of these guys. Okay, let me check. Heal up. Okay, so second hit has a 75% chance of placing block passive skills. It feels like I missed block passive skills a couple times already. The last couple times I applied this, I didn't see it get applied. Let's go with the AoE. What are we hitting here? Pretty weak, like 30k, 35k against tankier mobs. Interesting. Okay. Oh, aspect of Suroth. Okay, so here's the block passive. I guess we can try again. Oof, sucks. Okay. This is a good team. This is a good team to showcase like his full range of abilities here. It's a good team. Um, extension of debuffs. A1, okay. Shut him down. Got sheeped. And here is the passive block and kill. Yeah, it's a good team to showcase his full range of abilities, but I really wonder if that A3 is kind of bugged. I don't know. It feels kind of buggy. Let's go back in here against Scratch's team, and let's see how well we can do it here. So this time this Marichka has the material stacks, which can make it a little bit dicey. So we can, I think we'll just go for the break on the material stacks. Okay, so we're gonna block passives here. Slow it down. Let's make sure it works. Decrease defense, block passive. There it is. Okay, perfect. And then AoE. Really nice. That's like the perfect scenario, right? You land it all, the decreased defense, they're gonna take more damage. It's like the perfect scenario. So it worked out there. Yeah, this is good. Crazy, right? Like you see a team like this, and then it kind of just gets knocked out like that. Really nice. Oh, we got sheeped. So that's going to be a big negative here, where you get sheeped on your debuffs. Yeah, I mean, a little bit unfortunate. It's going to happen anytime, of course. We don't have to finish off this fight. It's no problems. All right, guys, that's going to be the showcase here for Folan Silverhart. I think we covered quite a bit of content for him. I think for PvE, he's very, very serviceable. Obviously, for Faction Wars Hard, he's an absolute menace. He's going to be able to help you control those waves, also pitch in for some damage. For Hydra, he's not going to be top tier in terms of damage, but he does bring debuffs, and he does add consistency to your runs by, spraying your debuffs, increasing the debuffs, the durations of them. So that's going to help you out. He's going to be like more of a support damage dealer, but he's definitely not top tier for Hydra. You could definitely use him for general wave content, for decreased defense, also very good. Single target bosses will also benefit from his A1 debuff extension. So if you have like Geomancer and you just want the HP burn extended so you don't have damage drop-offs, he can definitely be helpful for that. Now for PvP content, does he hit hard enough? I don't think he hits hard enough on any of his abilities. Like I said, we compared his multipliers to Sun Wukong, and Sun Wukong doesn't have insane multipliers on his AoE at all. And Folan, a slightly better Sun Wukong in terms of multipliers, probably around 4 on his AoE, which is about to be expected. So you're not going to expect him to basically blow away teams with just one attack, but his damage is not terrible. Not terrible, but it's not going to be enough. Now, what is really good about him is this ability, his A3 ability. Block passive skills can definitely allow you to go through some teams that you have no business taking care of. Even if he is negative affinity, you can target, positive affinity or neutral affinity champions and then get these debuffs down and then spread them to, the negative affinity champions. And if you're able to land decreased defense, the subsequent AoE damage from this can actually do quite a bit. Not saying it's enough to kill, super tanky champions, but it seems okay. And the block passive is definitely going to get you some wins. Now, is this champion worth your time? He is going to be a fragment fusion champion, so there's that. It's a little bit easier to complete for the most part, but you don't get credit for the fusion token if you guys are really into that. And there's some things about his kit that feel very familiar to Carnage, which is a free champion that you get from Centranos, which you can get his soul for over time, again from those Centranos chests. So you don't necessarily need to invest serious amount of shards or energy to get Carnage. Obviously, you still have to build out champions to complete the stages, but over time, you will pick up Carnage. And Carnage feels very familiar to Folan in that he does bring block passives, which is very strong. But also, Carnage does bring, I think, a better aura. He brings speed and arena aura, which I think is a little bit better than attack. Just generally speaking, more champions have attack or more champions have non-speed. And I do like that Carnage can remove buffs. Also, his counterattacking is really, really good. So you can argue that Folan has better immediate material stack removals, like with his double hit AoE, which is really nice. And Folan probably hits slightly harder than Carnage, maybe in the base form. Carnage hits pretty hard in the secondary form. But Carnage definitely deals a lot of damage over time, and he's equally as good with all his counterattacks to remove the material stacks. Now, decreased defense here definitely has value. It softens them up, helps your team finish them off, helps Folan finishes them off also. So if you have, like, for example, like weaker gear, Folan might be better. But if you have really strong gear, then Carnage might just be better. That's kind of how I'm thinking about this right now. But Carnage, like I said, is free. You can acquire him from Centranos. He is a mythical champion, so if his base form gets locked out, you can transform him into an alt form, and you still can get some use out of him. And he has the resistance or ignore resistance in his kit, so you don't need crazy amounts of accuracy to do the same thing that Folan does, and Folan needs really good accuracy to land his debuffs, which in turn hurts his ability to deal damage. So you really have to balance it out here. I wouldn't be surprised if I was resisted quite a bit with only 400 accuracy against the competition I was playing against. Now, is he worth it? Knowing that Carnage comes free to play, if you skip Folan Silverhart, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. However, he does have a lot of value in lots of different areas. You can definitely use him in, like I said, hard faction wars. You can definitely use him in Centrano stages, and you can even slot him in for places in Hydra, for a slot in Hydra. And in a pinch, you could see this guy show up in some PvP content, PvP teams also. As a defensive unit, he's not very good. You're not going to use him on defense for arena. But as an offensive option, you could use this as kind of like, hey, I got nothing else going on. I'm probably not going to beat this team, but this guy might be able to take it down. And for some reason, you don't have Carnage or anything like that. But personally speaking, I would pick Carnage over this guy probably 9 out of 10 times. So a little bit disappointing in that. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this showcase. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Folan Silverhart. Do you guys agree or disagree? Would you like to see him in some different content? You agree with my assessment that Carnage is probably a higher picked unit over this Folan? What other builds would you guys try with Folan here? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help me out. Thanks for watching until the end. Appreciate you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.